Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Luke Papala Show. We have a lot of news, a lot of stories, so we're just going to get into it. The first thing we have to talk about is specifically James Fishback. So he's running for governor of Florida. If you haven't been following, he's the America First candidate running against Byron Donalds. He's been saying a lot of really good things, but he went viral today and made a lot of people mad, particularly Sophie, Rain, and all of the OnlyFans whores, models, whatever you want to call them. It's what they are. So listen to what he had to say about if he is elected Florida governor.
I want to break some news here with you, Joel. I hadn't planned to do this, but allow me to do it, which
Go.
is that as Florida governor in year one, I will push for the first of its kind OnlyFans sin tax. If you are a so-called OnlyFans creator in Florida, you are going to pay 50% to the state on whatever you so-called earn via that online degeneracy platform. And that money will be used to fund our education system, will be used to fund the crisis pregnancy centers, will be used to fund the first of its kind mental health czar for men in particular, because men have been told for far too long that they are guilty of masculinity, that they are guilty of all of society's ills. And I'm not going to stand for that slanderous lie. What I'm going to do is I am going to end this lie that toxic masculinity is responsible for all the sins and ills of society. If you're an OnlyFans model and you reside in Florida, get ready to pay 50% of your income to the state. It is called a sin tax because it is a sin, number one. But the purpose of a sin tax in economics is to disincentivize and deter a behavior. And yes, as Florida governor, I don't want young women who could otherwise be mothers, raising families, rearing children. I don't want them to be selling their bodies to sick men online. And I don't want young, impressionable men who have strayed from Christ, who have strayed from our Lord and Savior, to be told and drawn into lust and have their entire brain rewired. We will raise hundreds of millions of dollars of income on the OnlyFans sin tax. And if we don't, Joel, if we don't raise that income, you know what it'll mean? It will mean something even greater has materialized for the young women and young men of our state, that the OnlyFans industry and its supporters, and you know who those supporters are, Joel, that its supporters will have been utterly robbed of their ability to rob us, not just of our hard-earned wages, but of our commitment to Christ.
I love it. I love it. I mean, listen, you're going to get some pushback, of course, and it's going to be from these women who are making boatloads of money. But let's talk about this. Understand, these women are victims too. I mean, you've seen, I forget the lady that went on Theo Vaughn, but she was talking about the dark side of the porn industry. And we know everybody, it's not just men. There's women, there's young girls that are exposed to pornography as well, but particularly young boys that are exposed to pornography, and now it's getting worse and worse. It's getting more violent what they're being exposed to at a young age, and we know it's not good. And let's be honest about this. Pornography is hurting our country. It's hurting our world. The more that young kids have access to the stuff, the worse the world gets. And so Sophie Rain had a response to this, and it was a very interesting one. So we are going to play it for you, and believe it or not, this all started with a James Fishback tweet. So he quoted that video that I just played for you. He quoted that. He specifically tagged Sophie Rain, who is the most famous and most successful OnlyFans model. You know who Sophie Rain is, okay? You've seen social media. James Fishback goes, "Hey, Sophie Rain, pay up or quit OnlyFans. As Florida governor, I will not allow a new generation of smart and capable young women to be selling their bodies online." So Sophie Rain quotes the tweet. Sophie Rain quotes the tweet. And would you like to know what she said? Here is what Sophie Rain said in response to James Fishback. So I will just say this was not on my bingo list for stuff that we would be seeing in 2026, but here we are. So here is Sophie Rain's video response to James Fishback. And let me just say, I can't believe this is happening.
Never in my whole life did I think that I would wake up and see a Florida politician trying to start beef with me for clout.
Never in my whole life did I think that women would be able to make their own porn careers on their own and earn almost $100 million a year.
So he's proposing a sin tax on bops where we would have to pay 50% to the state on top of the 37 I already paid to the government. And I would be more than happy to pay that if multi-billion-dollar corporations were also being properly taxed.
She's a woman of the people.
But surprise, they're not. I never usually get into politics, but there are clearly better ways to raise funds from actual corrupt businesses in our country. I think that people also fail to realize that there are so many creators on this platform that do this job because they're struggling. So to tax them
Of course, they're all struggling. They're doing porn.
like that when they're literally doing it just to support their families is sad. I would much rather continue donating directly to people in need because we all really know where our tax dollars go.
So, that post said targeting a group of individuals using their job to survive when there are multi-billion-dollar corrupt businesses that don't pay taxes is insane. Yes, that is true. However, James Fishback comes and he responds. He goes, "Sophie, pay up. It's time to give our public school teachers a raise." And he ratios her, man. 8.8K right here for the likes for Sophie's video and 9.7K for the response. Craziness. Okay, so you understand where we're coming from, right? I completely support it, and I think a lot of young men in particular support it. Because we understand this is a demonic entity. This is not a very good industry. You talk about one nation under God. You talk about America as a Christian majority country. It's supposed to be a moral country for the most part. And when you have our people, the people that live here, the young men in particular that live here, that are exposed to all this type of stuff. I mean, you see the ads on TikTok. You see the women making content. And they're sliding in comment sections, and it's really disgusting. You've seen the trope lately. It's like they have Grok, they tag Grok, and they say, "Grok, put me in this or put me in that," and then it makes it revealing, and it's to draw subscription money. It's really evil, and it's not good to prey on these young men who, at this point in time, there's never been anything like this before. Like if you fast forward, who knows what happens in the future, but rewind 15, 20, 25 years ago, porn was never as accessible as it is now, and people cringe when you talk about it, but there's a reality to the subject. Eventually, you're going to get young men, if you haven't already, which we've seen the numbers, the fertility rate is declining, young men aren't going out, they're staying in more, they're not having sex, which could be looked at as a positive or a negative, depending on, your moral persuasion. But regardless, young men aren't being as social. There's a problem here because porn is so accessible that they would rather just stay inside in their parents' basement or in their rooms or wherever they are and not go out and not develop relationships, with women. It's a problem. It's a big problem. And so putting a 50% sin tax, whatever you're going to call it, on these OnlyFans creators, I hope that you can do this to the corporations as well. I will say, in terms of the corporations, you got to go after the porn companies too. If you're going to do this to the creators, which I'm all for, if you're going to do this to the creators, you have to go after the companies. You got to go after OnlyFans. You got to go after MindGeek. You got to go after Pornhub. All that stuff. All that stuff has to go. And we all know who's behind those companies too. But continuing on here, I want to play this video for you too, because Sophie Rain is trying to claim the moral high ground. And, it's very easy to duck on her, but we're gonna try and do this anyway. So here she is. She's trying to be a woman of the people. And here she is talking about her relationship with God. The porn star is talking about her relationship with God. Here it is.
Very strong. I have a very close relationship with my church. And I love God. Like I believe that he will forgive your sins for anything. And I think that he's happy that I'm successful. I
think he's happy that I'm successful. Hey, Soph, I think he knows what you're doing. Right?
Like a little video call because I'm currently living in Miami, but I used to live in Tampa. And that's like my home church. I love that church so much, and my pastor that is there.
My pastor. Notice how she says my pastor, not my priest. We're just going to leave it there. But what do you think about that, man? I think it's good that something is happening. Obviously, I would love to see Fishback win. I think what he represents is amazing. He's talking about he wants young people to be able to afford a home, to be able to get married and have kids. He wants that. He's going after these corporations, in particular all of the people that are employing the H-1B visas, right? The cheap labor that's excluding Americans, Floridians in particular. I watched the Tucker Carlson interview that he had today. Well, it was posted on Friday, but I watched it today, and he's talking about the citrus fields and this giant industry that used to be in Florida 20, 25 years ago, and now completely decimated because of the H-1B visa program, because of illegal immigration, because of Haitians that have been allowed to come and stay in this country under Obama, and all of this stuff compiling. And it's really tragic what's happened to Florida, because I had no clue that they had the industries go away. Because here in the Midwest, I mean, we had the steel industry, we had the glass industry, we had the rubber industry. I mean, pretty much every industry, we made majority of things here. You talk about Youngstown, Ohio, you talk about Gary, Indiana, you talk about Chicago, Indianapolis, etc. The list goes on and on and on. Cleveland, Akron, Canton, Toledo, you get the picture. And to hear him talking about the heartbreak that Floridians have taken on and been able to hurt from, it really sucked to hear that. So hopefully we have him win, first off. I mean, it's still a long shot, but I'm glad that he's going after the porn industry, because it does really have a stranglehold on young people, but not only young people, but Floridians in general. I mean, it's a big industry over there. A lot of the stuff is headquartered over there. And I mean, don't buy the stuff with Sophie Rain. Don't buy into that. It's really crazy. I will say, I saw this opinion on X, and I have to pontificate on that. The Democrats love talking about the millionaires and billionaires, but notice how they never go after the porn industry at all. They never attack the porn industry, even though it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, maybe even $1 trillion industry. Who knows? But they never go after that. The left never goes after that. Why? It's pretty telling. It's pretty telling that it's like a godless movement at this point. We know that. But I just thought it was so funny to see this. I mean, it wasn't on my bingo chart to have James Fishback going after OnlyFans creators. Quite nuts, man. Quite nuts. I don't know what's gonna happen next. A 50% sin tax. If he wins, man, good for him. And I hope it works. I hope it happens. Now, I'm Catholic. Was it obvious? I'm Catholic, and I understand that the Catholic Church has had many scandals over the past 30 years. However, I will say that the priest sex abuse scandals have been largely overblown. And I kind of do feel like pulling it up on Grok. And I am going to pull it up on Grok. Let me record the screen right here, because I think it's very important. I recently encountered this. And so what I'm going to do right now, we're going to go on Grok, and specifically we're going to ask, let's see here, how am I going to do this? Because I want to compare the amount of priests in the Catholic Church that have had the sex abuse scandals, and then I want to measure it with teachers in the sex abuse scandals that were in there. Okay, so for Catholic priests, approximately 4% of U.S. priests, so 4,392 out of 110,000 in ministry from 1950 to 2002, faced credible allegations of abusing minors, with rates estimated at 0.2 to 1.7% for pedophilia specifically. Accusation rates peaked at 8.65 per 100 priests in 1980, but dropped to 2.2 per 100 by 1990, with overall incidence declining sharply after the 1980s. So for teachers, up to 5% of teachers engage in sexual abuse of children, with 15% of students experiencing some form of educator misconduct. 15! That is 15 in 100 kids. What? From kindergarten through 12th grade, an estimated 1 in 10 students, about 10%, will face school employee sexual misconduct by high school graduation. What? A 1991 study found 17.7% of male and 82.2% of female high school graduates reported harassment by faculty, with 13.5% reporting intercourse with a teacher. What? Are you kidding me? And these teachers are not bound to celibacy. From 1950 to 2010, there were approximately 10,667 to 11,627 allegations involving 11,000 victims. 81 to 88% male, often adolescents. Peaks occurred in the 1970s to early 1980s, with 80 to 94% of incidents before 1990. Post 2002 allegations fell from 898 to in 2000. I can't talk. 898 in 2004 to 398 in 2009. In media analysis, 2020, 107 articles covered church cases, with 64 involving multiple victims per offender and 38 priests found guilty. But An estimated 1 in 10 students will face school employee sexual misconduct by high school graduation. 13.5% reporting intercourse with a teacher. Again, that's basically 1 in 10 kids. That's a little bit more than 1 in 10 kids. At some point, will report intercourse with a teacher that is not bound to celibacy. Yet you send your kids to school anyway. But the minute the Catholic Church is brought up, you evangelicals in particular there's like a demon that possesses you. You malign the Catholic Church, and it's like, let's be real here. This is not normal. This whole thing, listen, the Catholic sex abuse scandals, a terrible stain on our faith. No doubt. I condemn all of it. But you send your kids to school and you don't complain about that at all. Yet 13.5% of students at some point in their life will report intercourse with a teacher. Again, understand where we are. Sending your kids to school is normal. And I don't see anybody complaining about that. Yet you talk about such a small percentage, approximately 4% of U.S. priests from 1950 to 2002. And it's yes, awful, incredibly bad, 100%. Condemn it, awful, a terrible stain on our faith. But literally anywhere else, you are silent. I would also like to now compare Catholic sex abuse scandals with priests to Protestant pastors. Who's ready for some facts? Based on available data, sex abuse scandals involving Protestant pastors occur more frequently in absolute terms than those involving Catholic priests, primarily due to the larger number of Protestant clergy and congregations in the U.S., approximately 600,000 Protestant ministers versus 40,000 Catholic priests. But the Protestants aren't bound to celibacy, and yet you see all the evangelicals talking about, the Catholic priest, you don't want to get molested, they're bound to celibacy, they can't have sex, they're gonna have sex with kids, blah, blah. And it happens more frequently with the pastors that are not bound to celibacy, that can marry and do whatever because there's no rules. Interesting. Prevalence rates per clergy member are comparable or slightly higher in Protestant settings, 2 to 3% versus 1 to 4% for Catholics, but the decentralized structure leads to more reported incidents annually in non-Catholic churches. Underreporting affects both, but Protestant cases are often described as an epidemic overshadowed by Catholic scandals because the media likes to blow it up. Anytime the Catholic Church does something because it is Christ's church, because it was created by God, it is the one true church, the universal church, the media maligns it. Interesting. Here's the breakdown using key studies and estimates. So here we go. We have 1 to 4%. This is the Catholic priest. 1 to 4%, 4% accused from 1950 to 2002, right? We've talked about they peaked. Protestant pastors, 2 to 4, or 2 to 3% rather, up to 10% for broader sexual misconduct. So that's the thing. Is that not crazy? Again, these Protestant pastors, they are not bound to celibacy. They are not bound to celibacy. They can have sex with whoever. They can get married to whoever. There are no rules. And yet, the media loves to criticize Catholic priests. They can't have sex. They can't get married. They're bound to celibacy. And yet those guardrails are actually doing a better job than those without the guardrails. So higher estimates for evangelicals, shocker, includes various denominations. Boys are more affected in religious organizations overall. So here we go, right? We have the estimated cases per victim. So 10,000 to 16,000 U.S. victims, right? Billions paid in settlements. Annual insurance claims 260. Thousands of victims across denominations, so the global figures are higher, of course, because it's a universal church. But decentralized tracking, Southern Baptist, hundreds of cases, often involves volunteers. 75% of abusers in churches are volunteers. Interesting. So, what do we think about this? Because for years, I have heard, and this kind of turned into a rant, I'm sorry, but for years, I've heard, Catholicism, I don't want to get raped, I don't want to get molested by a priest, why do your priests have to be bound to celibacy? And yet, it turns out that law of celibacy, that rule, is actually working quite well. And every time there is a situation of abuse, it's tragic, and again, condemn it. It is a great stain on our faith. But it's always the Protestants, it's always the evangelicals that are doing the accusing. So rather than looking to other people, you should look within, because your situation's pretty bad. So that's all. We have one more topic, and then we're going to cut it off. This is kind of crazy, too. This is a situation with J.D. Vance, and this literally just happened. And I'm not a fan of J.D. Vance, not the biggest fan at all. But, like, let's just understand what this is. So this came from James O'Keefe, and I'm not going to play the video because it's very long. But I'm going to read it to you. We're going to put it up on the screen here because this is insane. So there was a U.S. Secret Service agent assigned to Vice President J.D. Vance, and he leaked sensitive security information to an undercover reporter. So his last name is Escado, and he's a holdover from the Biden administration, and stated that he voted for Joe Biden while expressing opposition to ICE and the Trump administration's immigration policies. Quote, "I hate that ICE shit," is what he said. Thomas Escado, a current U.S. Secret Service agent on Vice President J.D. Vance's protective detail, was recorded on hidden camera providing an undercover journalist with sensitive security information, including protective formations, shift schedules, travel plans, and real-time locations. This guy is working in the Secret Service, and he's providing the locations of the Vice President, who he swore an oath to protect, to other people. Again, not a fan of J.D. Vance, but he could have got him killed. Thank God he wasn't killed. Continuing on, the Secret Service agent detailed how the Vice President is physically surrounded, described multiple daily shift changes, and disclosed advanced security procedures. How the hell does this happen? You go back to 2024 when Trump got shot, and it was the Secret Service, and it was a sloped roof. That's why they didn't have people there. And you begin to question all of the authority. And even now you thought it would be good, but yet there are still moles in there. There are still people that are okay with this political violence. It is absolutely insane. In addition to past movements, the agent revealed future travel plans sometimes 2 days in advance. Escado even sent images from Air Force Two while on board with the Vice President. Bro, this guy should be thrown in jail for the rest of his life. A couple people floated out the death penalty. I'm not in favor of the death penalty. I don't believe we should be able to take anybody's life, just my opinion as a Catholic. But this is borderline death penalty. With that being said, like, this is treason. At the least, this is treason. This is treason in solitary confinement. This cannot be allowed. Despite acknowledging that he signed paperwork prohibiting the disclosure of sensitive information, the Secret Service agent reportedly shared details with someone he believed was a casual romantic interest. Are you kidding me? I bet he's gay. That's usually how these things go. While the safety of the Vice President and his family was always our top priority, what OMG uncovered raises serious questions about operational security, protocol compliance, and oversight within the U.S. Secret Service. Quote, "Our team coordinated with U.S. Secret Service ahead of publication, redacted sensitive operational details at their request. We were just informed Thomas Escado has been placed on administrative leave with his clearance suspended and access to agencies, facilities, and systems revoked." What? How does this happen? We live in the most powerful country in the world. We like to think of ourselves as a polite and serious society. And when things like this happen within our own government, they could have killed J.D. Vance. They could have killed the Vice President. Again, not a big fan of him, but nevertheless, this is still the Vice President. Like, this should still be a respected branch of the government. This is the Secret Service, for crying out loud. It's not the C, D, or F team. Like, JD is an active Vice President. He's currently serving. You would think he would get the best security detail. But it is crazy that there are still these deranged leftists in power that are willing to put people's lives at risk. I mean, now you're talking about a political climate where violence is now more and more normalized. After Charlie Kirk was killed. Before that, when Donald Trump was almost assassinated twice. And it's like all of this stuff. Again, you never see right-wing people trying to kill left-wing politicians. It's just not something that happens. And I don't want it to happen. But we have to understand where we are now. It's It's really scary. Who knows what happens? Again, thank God nothing happened to the vice president. Thank God nobody's life was taken. But this is serious, man. This is really serious. So I hope something comes of it. I hope they're able to do an undercover probe or something. Because who knows? You don't want this hyper-violent political climate. It just doesn't help anybody. But folks, that's the show. What did you think? Let me know in the comments. Give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel. Please. We're also doing memberships now. That's a new thing. For as low as 99 cents per month, if you go and you click the link below, our memberships, they start 99 cents per month. We have another one that is about $5 per month. Click it. You will not regret it. For 99 cents per month, you get priority comment, meaning if you comment on any one of my videos, I will respond within 24 hours or so. But you will get a guaranteed response from yours truly. In addition to that, any other video that you comment on, if you're in that 99 cents per month club, it's going to give you a little banner next to your YouTube handle, your name. That'll let me know you're part of the club, and I will comment to you within 24 hours. But you will always get a comment if you are in that club. That is a service that you, the viewer, are paying for. So I thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate your support. Have a good one. Bye-bye.